Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
How do you feel about California introducing a bill to ban former ICE agents from serving as police officers or teachers? It should be a law everywhere. Those violent garbage people should be unemployable. They should be banned from all public offices, running for any political office and any public school roles as well. Banning them from running for office would be a 1-0 violation, not that they care about constitutional rights when it comes to other people, but they would easily win that case in court. Most wouldn't be able to secure those roles anyway. I am supportive of any law that stops bad cops who use their position to commit acts that would land a regular person in jail for years or decades, and then shifting from one agency to another where they will again put the public at risk. I think the unintended consequence would be penalizing those who left ICE because they are disgusted for what that agency became and fleeing it to actually serve the public in an honorable way. It boils down to when and why they left ICE. It's not like they are being sent to prison or anything. They just can't be cops, which is good because they have really bad judgment. I think it's just political theater. It's highly unlikely that it'll stand if challenged in court. I don't want members of a violent gang anywhere near children, let alone having legal authority over citizens. With that said, I feel pretty good about the bill. It's a good move. All states should implement it yesterday. They're not a gang IMO, they're a domestic terrorist organization. When all you do is let Russian bots post dumbass questions that are meant to divide America non-stop, you get what our Askreddit has turned into. Good job, mods. Especially at this hour, look at these replies. LMAO. You don't wake up at 6 a.m. to yell about ghosts on the internet before going to work. The problem with this is that it can include people who weren't meant to be included. For instance, say you're a border patrol agent who has done nothing but check passports at an airport for the last 10 years. Now, you are disgusted by what is going on and want to quit. You live in California and 2 of the possible jobs open to you are now closed. I don't think this is what the bill intends. That's not ICE. That's CBP. Different agency. Pedophile protectors should not be near children. Yeah, this sounds illegal. People that think otherwise are idiots. I don't actually know much of anything, but the law definitely is whatever I personally feel like it should be, and whoever disagrees is dumb. Quote, if it is passed as a law, it would by definition be legal. Do you mean unconstitutional? I think it would be constitutional. Constitutional protections for professions are not available. Slaughterhouse cases basically killed the possibility, and Bradwell versus Illinois helped. It may be mean or ill-advised. I think it is actually wise given what we are seeing. But it would be legal and constitutional. I feel like that's a class action lawsuit. This bill won't pass. It wouldn't be legally enforceable, I would think. The 14th Amendment won't allow it to hold up. Previous employer is far from a protected class. Why not? Nope. Protected class is a very specific thing. Former employer isn't part of it. Unconstitutional. It's prejudice and will never pass. If they do pass it, courts, yes, even CA liberal courts, will strike it down. Cite the specific precedent or law. They'll strike it down using the First Amendment's right to organize in some limited fashion, because if it is upheld, Texas is going to turn around and ban anyone who volunteered or worked at a women's health clinic that provided abortions from holding government positions. Pointless virtue signaling. That's one of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard. It's wrong. I'd rather see politicians be penalized for putting on political theater like this. Seriously, I wish people would wake up and see through this shit so they'd take actual meaningful action. A bill of attainder is a legislative act that declares a specific person or group guilty of a crime and imposes punishment without a judicial trial. Forbidden by Article 1, Sections 9 and 10 of the U.S. Constitution. These laws are unconstitutional because they violate separation of powers and due process. So we're playing by the Constitution now. That's news to me. Even still, there are arguments to be made about this. We have plenty of groups labeled as domestic terrorists. Pretty sure those people can't be teachers or cops either. The passage you're quoting also deals with punishment, as in jail time or fines. Employment restrictions aren't part of that. It's illegal and discriminatory, would set bad precedents. Some people hate cops and some cops do bad illegal stuff too. Should we ban all cops as well while we're at it? I feel like they shouldn't be serving anything other than time for being fucking Nazis. I think it's dumb. Sounds performative. California cops have formed literal gangs, that's how corrupt they are. If anything, why don't they pass a law banning police gangs, then worry about ICE thugs? It's stupid, but then again, so is California. Even if you discount the lawless thuggery, I don't think somebody naive enough to think they will get that $50K bonus from this administration should be in education. political pandering and virtue signaling. They'll be lucky if that's the only consequence they have to face. Seems like discrimination, and if that door is opened there is no telling where it will stop. Oh, you belong to the Democrat, Republican Party, sorry you are not allowed to teach, etc. It sounds unconstitutional, but then again, ICE agents don't care about the Constitution, so I say fair is fair. What would be unconstitutional about it? Add nursing, attorneys, doctors, professors, counselors, therapists, basically anything where they need judgment and work with the public. If they have a change of heart, cool, but they can't hide it and have to automatically have an ethics board play a part in the decision to hire them or let them in school. If they want to act like Nazis, let's treat them that way. I would rather see a bill to ban pedos from serving in politics. But I guess such a cool exists and doesn't change anything. It's probably unconstitutional and will be challenged in court. It's a patent 14th Amendment violation, and collective punishment is counter to a civil society. The left shouldn't be violating people's civil rights just because we don't like them. Wow, the virtue signaling in here is insane. I think they are getting ahead of themselves. It would be better if they enforced the law and arrested them. Then it becomes obvious why this bill would make sense. As it stands, this is just political theater. Blanket bans like this are a lazy way to look tough without fixing the real problem. I've worked with enough orgs to know that past affiliation matters far less than oversight, accountability, and clear standards in the role itself. If someone broke the law or abused power, bar them specifically. If not, judge performance, not the logo on their old badge. Policies that ignore nuance usually create worse outcomes than the issues they're meant to solve. It's not like they would qualify for those jobs. States' rights. Misguided theater that will have unintended consequences if it stands. It's a bad idea. You're going to get a biased take on Reddit. Wait until Gavin runs in the next presidential election and look at his numbers to see how people really feel. So you're banning a whole class of employees for a few bad apples. How does that even make any sense? The administration is where people should be targeting, not the workers. ICE is not a new organization. Honestly, I'm not too interested in it, but I'm interested to see how the media and others take it. I don't like the government passing laws to punish legal behavior. I dislike ICE. I think the masks should be illegal, they should be forced to identify themselves and held accountable for their actions. But if you want ICE to be illegal, you need to pass laws to make it illegal. Not find other ways to punish people involved. How would you feel if red states made it illegal to be a teacher or cop if you campaigned for a Democratic candidate? And yes, I agree that campaigning for a Democratic candidate is way different than some of the stuff ICE is doing. But that is the line being crossed. The government should be able to do it. And I don't support it just because, in this instance, it favors the side I support. This is illegal and will fall in courts quickly. Newsom is an idiot. How would you feel about a law that bans protesters from holding public office? SHT like this is why this country is going downhill. Tit for tat. The American people have very negative feelings about ICE, so I think it makes sense. First, more Americans support than oppose abolishing ICE, 46% vs. 41%. That's a pretty radical position for Americans. Quinnipiac poll, 63% of voters disapprove of the way ICE is enforcing immigration laws and 34% approve, a lower rating than the agency received in a January Quinnipiac poll, when 57% disapproved and 40% approved. 55% of Americans say they have very little confidence in ICE, an increase of 10 percentage points since mid-December. YouGov, The Economist poll, 55% of Americans say they have very little confidence in ICE, an increase of 10 percentage points since mid-December. Confidence in ICE has declined most among independents, 67% now say they have very little confidence in the agency, up from 49% in December. Fox News poll, 59% of voters say ICE is too aggressive, up 10 points since July. The New York Times and Siena Research Institute poll, 63% disapprove of the job ICE is doing, Trump approval at 34%. Emerson College poll, 57% of voters think ICE's presence in communities has been more harmful than beneficial, while 38% think it has been more beneficial than harmful. 5% think it has had no impact. Very good. We don't need literal Nazis teaching our kids. I thought Nazis were the ones that committed genocide and killed people for speaking out against them. I see we're in agreement. Based on the inability or unwilling to de-escalate and use non-lethal methods first, that's a good idea. If there are any stable ICE agents, they need to step the fuck up and speak out. It's not fair to those who were in the job before Trump. It would be more fair to ban those with excessive force complaints. I don't want American Gestapo in decent society. They chose to be that way and may they experience many consequences. Gestapo wouldn't put up with peaceful protesters. Yeah, they might even murder innocent people in the street in broad daylight. They need to be banned from society, not just jobs. They should be banned from ever holding a position of state authority ever again. Failure to do this after the Civil War was disastrous for our county. Good first step, go for it and more. They should be banned from every part of civilized society. They shouldn't be able to hold any job at all. They should be put in prison for life. If they served under Trump for more than a couple of weeks. Absolutely. The names should also be publicly searchable, along with where they were deployed. Fantastic call. Fuck those ICE goons. Sounds pretty fascist to me. The irony is lost on Reddit. Regards. Good but not far enough. There should be 49 other states introducing the same bill right now, lol.